go to Janelle in Seattle. What's up, Janelle?
Hello, Dr. John. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Good. I guess I have a question. I'll just start out. I feel like my husband and I are never on a team.
Okay.
I want to respect him and his personality, but I can't get past the irresponsibility and the weight he has me carry. And I just don't know how to deal with it. It's been like 8 years, and it just seems like we just can't get on the same page. I don't know what to do.
Oh, man. I'm sorry. Like, just before we even dig in, like, that's hard, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And we've talked about it, argued about it. Like financially, I've done the Every Dollar app. I have it all done. All he has to do is look at it and tell me where I overspent. And he just doesn't care. Yeah. And I just don't know what to do about it. I'm like, please tell me like to stop spending or something, just have an opinion. And he just doesn't. So
they gave me some notes on this. Jenna gave me some notes. Says that y'all have been through bankruptcy together. Tell me about having to buy a house from your parents.
Yeah. So when we got married, it was like 3 months after we got married, I got hit with, he told me that he owed like tons of money to the IRS.
How much?
And I didn't, like $70,000.
Okay.
And his mother was doing his books. And so his books weren't very well done, and so we did a refinance on his house. And I really didn't want to do it, but I felt like, well, we're married, so I kind of had to. Then he had a business on his own and found out that his business partner was stealing money from him, like $10,000. And the only reason we found out is because I said, you need to go through the books and make sure everything's done. Then he ended up, he was drinking a lot. And so I felt like I needed to move closer to family. And so after bankruptcy, which I was pretty devastated because that's not how I am.
Tough. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was pretty embarrassing. And then we bought a house from my parents. And it just feels like my whole life is based off of his decisions. And I just feel like I'm constantly coping. You know what I mean?
That you're getting dragged around aimlessly.
Right. Huh. Right.
And so when y'all have these conversations, he just blows them off?
He gets really defensive.
Yeah.
And he is really extreme. And then he'll say, well, I'll just take over everything and we'll just move, to another state. Sure. And, we have kids, so I'm not going to drag them all through this. But so I'm trying to keep it stable, for our children.
So for your kids are getting dragged through it.
Yeah.
There is no protecting them from this. They're absorbing every second of it.
I know. And it's hard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I know it's hard.
Yeah.
We'll stay together for them, or my husband's an alcoholic. He cheats on me. He's abusive. He doesn't come home. He's bankrupt us. He's not doing. But the kids,
right?
They can often become a proxy for making hard decisions, or they become an excuse for making hard decisions, right?
Yeah. Right.
Have you and your husband sat down and talked about divorce, separating out?
There have been conversations. We've gone to marriage counseling, and it seems like it's only if I get upset that I'm taken seriously.
Okay.
He has right now. He has a great job, and we're financially okay now. I just feel like he still has me carry those bricks, in the backpack.
When you say you've got to carry stuff, what are you?
Oh yeah.
What are you being forced to carry?
The finances. Okay. I take care of all of the bills.
Okay. What happens if you say I'm going to stop?
They won't get paid.
Okay. So you are married to a child.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel the words you're using sound much more maternal, like you're his mother?
Yeah.
And whenever and this is a super common thing, so I don't want you to feel like you're out on an island by yourself, but when one or the other spouse takes on more of a parental role, there's a different intimacy there. Nobody wants to sleep with their son, and nobody wants to hook up with their mom, right? So there's it has a glitch in that relationship, and then that intimacy ripples through right. So it just becomes a domino that falls.
Mm-hmm.
Have you, when you've sat down with him before, and I know you've probably had a million conversations, what does he say about, like, I don't want to be your mom anymore?
He gets defensive.
What does that mean? Because that's what children do. They get mad, they spit, they throw things, they kick things.
Yeah, it's pretty much slamming doors, yelling, just about how he can't do anything right, and
it's a child. It's a child response.
Yeah, I guess so.
It is. It's a grown-up temper tantrum. I'm taking my ball and going home. Fine, we'll just move and we'll never come back. Shut up. Like, right? That's a child.
Yeah.
I need a grown-up to sit down across the table with me and say, are you going to do marriage with me anymore?
Yeah.
Are we going to protect our kids?
Right.
Are we going to ever fix the sexual intimacy issues in our marriage? Are we ever going to have some kind of firm financial footing where we're on the same page and we're on the same team? Right? You see what I'm saying? Like,
right.
That's a different. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to be married to a child. It's really hard to be married to temper tantrums. And my guess is, if he was on the phone with me, he could probably point back to a few places in his life when a child had to take over and start defending him from things.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And that child's still playing defense for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that child kept him alive at one point, kept him safe at one point, and now that child is destroying everything around him.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the question is there a way that you can communicate with him? Have you sat down ever and said, I need to, like, normally when I talk to couples in this situation, the conversations, the deep talks always happen during fights.
Yeah.
And it feels like a great moment when finances are secure, he's got a good job, things are okay, to circle back and say, we need to have a couple of hard conversations. I'd like to plan a half day. Would he do that with you?
He would. I think for me, it's the follow-up. Like you said you were going to do, like I've asked him, like, can we please go over the finances once a month? Like the beginning of the month, please. And every dollar is already done. You can see where all the money is spent, and we need to go over,
But you see, that's, I would say that's one of the big challenges, because you've made every dollar a math problem.
Yeah.
It's a different conversation to say, I don't feel safe.
Yeah, I've told him that.
I feel completely and totally alone without you. And when you don't participate, I can do the budget. I'm a grown woman. I can pay our bills.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you would rather kick and scream and throw a temper tantrum than help your wife feel safe.
Yeah.
That's a totally different conversation. And if he doesn't respond to that, which some marriage partners don't, oh, get over yourself, it's just a stupid budget.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next response is, I have to make decisions about, do I want to be married to somebody who's not going to participate in my marriage?
Right.
Because really, you feel dragged around, it's the other way around. You're dragging him around. And I think you're tired of carrying somebody in addition to your kids, in addition to your own things. And you're probably, by carrying him, probably carrying his family around and all that other drama. And you got the shame that you're carrying around, but all that, you're tired.
I am. It is. It's tired. And it just seems like there's so much outside drama that
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so a lot of this gets put on, on him. And he's a huge contributor, make no mistake. But my guess is there's a lot of just mess, right? There's just stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think a valuable exercise would be to sit down and say, all right, I'm going to write this stuff down. What is really on me? And you might find out that it's his brother that comes over every Wednesday that always, like whatever, like who knows what all the things are once you start writing them down. But I'm going to write these things down. And you have to come up with your or what statement. And an or what statement is couples who have reached a point where, like, we need to decide if we're going to stay married or not. We're going to have to decide if we're going to keep dating or not. If these things don't change, the or what is, then I'm going to go. Or if you know in your heart and mind, I will never leave. I'm never going to leave. Then the alternative is to make peace with where we are. And there is often a blending of the two. Here's an example in my own home, okay? I talked about this a little bit on the show. I'm a mess. I have I'm just kind of all over the place. And my wife is very list-makey and very on-timey and very like things got to be done in this way. And I've tried. I can't operate in the world that way. And I also know that putting my shoes away is a sign to my wife that I love her and value her.
Yeah.
And so here's a compromise. I got home at 4 a.m. the other day. I didn't unpack. I opened up my suitcase, grabbed some underwear out, jumped in the shower, and got in bed and went to sleep because I was exhausted. Okay? You have no idea what it's like trying to sleep on a plane next to Kelly, who's listening to her 80s metal, singing. I'm just kidding. She wasn't singing. But so she walks in at 8 o'clock in the morning. There's a half open suitcase. There's stuff strewn everywhere. She's able to exhale and say, he got in late last night. Her first thought isn't figures. He's act like a child, stupid baby. Like her first thought is, man, he must be exhausted.
Yeah.
And then when I got up and I stumbled around, got my coffee, went out and did my little weird morning routine, then I could immediately say, what's the best way I can honor my wife right now? I need to get this crap cleaned up. You see what I'm saying? It's about how can I meet your needs and how can I meet my needs? That's how we found some peace in the middle there. It's not either or. In her perfect world, you get home at 4 a.m., you unpack, you put everything where it goes, you start a load of laundry, then you go to bed, right? And then you make up your bed. My perfect day is I'll unpack in a few weeks when I'm leaving in town again, right? So we're going to find peace in the middle. All that happens because I'm committed to meeting her needs and she's committed to meeting mine.
Yeah.
And if you can't have that with a partner, you've got to decide, am I in or am I out?
What are the effects on the kids? Do you know what I mean?
The kids need well parents.
Yeah.
The kids need well parents. And you're not okay. And your husband's not okay. And so any sort of pseudo performance to try to make them the reason why this chaos continues. The times for me that we're staying together for the kids works is if we're staying together and we are so committed to making this marriage thing work.
Yeah.
Then 100% figure it out.
Yeah.
But when grenades are going off and there's abuse in the home or there's deception and infidelity and all these things, but we're staying together for the kids are getting a ringside seat as to what marriage and love look like. And they're getting a ringside seat to what a beat down, exhausted mother looks like. And a lying, deceiving, scheming husband looks like. Or somebody who throws temper tantrums. Oh, that's what grown men do when someone holds a mirror up to them. They throw a temper tantrum and they kick and scream and take their ball and go home. That's what they're getting.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a gap and there's the stay together or the divorce. Sometimes Terry Real talks about a 30-day timeout. People are yelling and screaming, 30-day timeout. And he's actually got on his website the rules of a 30-day timeout. I got to get some space, right? And I'm not saying that's the right thing for you guys. I'm saying there's an option between we're all out of here or we're all, right? At some point, your husband's going to have to decide, is he in or is he out?
Yeah. And that's it. It's gotten to the point where we don't even, like, if we argue,
Mhm.
It's in our bedroom, and there's not a lot of screaming except for like maybe once every 6 months
Mhm.
he might just go off. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just feel more than anything, like you said, just that beat down. Like
And
I
that's
just
that's some of that comes from when you write down your needs, one of the needs will be you will never yell at me again.
okay.
You will never scream in this home. You will not raise your voice and kick things in this house.
Mhm.
And the moment y'all are in a disagreement, every
Mhm.
marriage has disagreements. I had one this morning.
Mhm.
Every marriage has disagreements.
Right.
The moment a voice gets raised, you can say, hold on, hold on. I will not be talked to like that. I will be back later. And you
Mhm.
head out the door.
Yeah.
And he can kick and scream and yell and all. Knock your lights out, brother. I'm not going to be in the presence of this.
Okay.
That's what a boundary is. And for most children, they bang their heads up against boundaries to see if they hold. And
Okay.
if they don't hold, they keep pushing until they find something in their life that holds firm.
Mhm.
And so you've probably told them a million times, I'm not doing their bills anymore. And then 5 days later, you're like, I got to pay the bills. All
Yeah,
right.
there was like one time I said, "Can you take this to the post office?"
Mhm.
And it sat in the truck
That's
for
right.
a month.
And the follow up is you always let us, you never do this. I just needed one thing or the other is when you didn't drop this off, the story I told myself is you don't care about me. You don't care
Mm.
about the safety of our kids. You don't care about us having a water and running water in our home. That's your behavior
Mhm.
is a language, and your behavior told me you don't care.
Yeah.
And it's not me yelling and screaming. That's me saying, hey, here's what your behavior is telling me.
Mhm.
And it makes me scared. It makes me sad. And part of my values are I'm not going to be in relationships that make me scared or sad.
Yeah.
I get to choose that.
Yeah.
And any step forward with a child, if you say, hey, these things, I need you engaged at this level, or I'm not interested in continuing this relationship, 100% expect the only response that he seems to have, which is to act like a child. And, oh, you're gonna take my kids away from me? You're gonna take my the same as if you tell your kids, no, you cannot have Fruity Pebbles for dinner again. Oh, you never let us do anything. You're the worst. I hate you. It's a child response. And until your husband decides to address the child who's been protecting him his whole life and to go back and deal with some of that heavy trauma that he's experienced, I almost guarantee he has. And come to terms with being a participant in his home, meaning he's a participant in his family, meaning he's a participant in his own life, meaning he's worth being loved and he's worth loving himself and he's worth healing from some of that nonsense. And let me tell you, it can happen. I've seen it happen. It takes a lot of work, but it can happen. It's hard. Whew. It's be incredible. Until he does that, he's going to get back to like a child. And children are really hard to be married to. We made laws and such. So sorry that you're exhausted. I can hear it on you. I can hear it on you. We'll be thinking about you in your journey. Just try to sit down and decide, here's what I'm worth. Here's what my values are. Here's what I need in this relationship. And then have a conversation about what that's going to look like moving forward. My hope is that he jumps in, goes all in, says, I hear you this time. Whew. Let us know how that half-day retreat goes. I'm fascinated to hear the follow-up. And if he ever wants to, tell him to call me. I'd love to chat with him.